Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing 90 Day Diaries. So I think that I am going to be separating the two episodes because we got 2 hours of Diaries. I don't know why, but we got 2 hours of Diaries this last week. So I'm going to be separating the episodes just for ease of me making sure you're getting episodes and I'm getting through them. So just two quick announcements. I'm not going to be doing any hot goss in this episode because I don't have any yet. Actually, no, I think I do. So we'll have to do some hot goss. But just two quick announcements. First announcement is Patreon. So Patreon is up and running. If you're interested in being a part of that, we have 3 different tiers. First tier for $3, you get basically these episodes would be ad free, as well as AMAs every month. Um, Second tier is $5. There you would get not true crime, sorry, that's not the true crime one. The reality throwback shows, where that should be what I call them, throwback shows. Throwback shows where we're discussing episodes of shows that came of yesteryear. Right now we're doing Jersey Shore. So that's what's kind of happening there. I don't know what season I'm in at this point because, of course, I'm recording way ahead at this point, so I don't even know which season we're in. Probably 2 or 3. Um, but and then on the third tier, which is $7, you would get a true crime doc. So we've done at this point, Into the Fire's been done, Ashley Madison's been done, Man with 1,000 Kids has been done. So that is one true crime doc every month, and I do 2 episodes over a couple of weeks. So that's on that one. So if you're interested in that, you can head over to patreon.com/or// reality tea times 2. Link is in the show notes. So there's that. Second quick announcement. This is gonna be kind of personal, but I'm not gonna go into all of the details necessarily. But some episodes might be a little late in coming, just because I'm kind of in the thick of doing um, fertility treatments. So it's pretty all-consuming, to be totally honest. So, because of that, some episodes might be a little late in coming, some might not come right away or whatever. Some might get missed, which has kind of been happening already. But that's more so due to illness and other things. So, but yeah, that's kind of what's gonna probably be happening. I'm gonna try to keep as consistent as possible, make sure you're still getting episodes. But yeah, there could be a delay. Like, I was hoping to get episodes recorded yesterday, but with everything kind of going on, it just did not happen. Um, hoping that I can kind of do that as much as I can, but it means my work week is going to be wonky. But you could also mean podcast episodes coming out is going to be wonky. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Um, but hopefully it won't affect it too much, but that's kind of where we're at. Okay, let's go into some hot gossip. Okay, so this is Bachelor, in more particular, Golden Bachelor related. So, Gary Turner has a new girlfriend apparently. I mean, good for him. Why not? So prior to meeting his new girlfriend, Gary Turner's closest feeling to love at first sight was on The Golden Bachelor, but not with Teresa, which is real interesting. Um, he hasn't mentioned who his girlfriend is. He hasn't mentioned her name, but he did talk about this on the April 15th episode of the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast, where he revealed his connection has been strong since the moment they met, saying, quote, "I hate to say it because I know I'm going to get baseballs thrown at me. It was almost the first time I saw her," Turner said when asked how he knew his new relationship was becoming more serious. He continued to say, "It was the look that she gave me. It was like all of a sudden I was consumed by this look and I had this actual physical feeling and I pushed it off. I go, that was silly. That's ridiculous. And with every encounter, that feeling has instantly come back with her look. And it's like, damn, this is pretty awesome." After co-host Joe asked whether Turner had felt those feelings with any woman on his season, the former lead replied, and I quote, "I think the closest to that was when Faith played the guitar and sang to me on I think it was the first night she got the first impression rose." Wow. So not even the woman you ended up marrying, but Faith, who was the first person you said I love you to. We all remember this, right? Who, I guess because she refused to leave her horse, she's like, "I'm not leaving my horse." It just didn't work out. I don't know. I was shook. Um, so he said that would be the closest to it. The whole love at first sight thing, I have never been in on that. And all of a sudden, here I am, really feel like I'm experiencing that. Despite his strong feelings, Gary ultimately sent home Faith, if you remember, and proposed to Teresa in the season one finale, The Golden Bachelor in 2023. Again, who I feel like even if it wasn't going to be Faith, it could have been like Leslie, but I don't know where the hell Teresa came from. But anyways, um, while reflecting on his relationship with Teresa, Gary shared that he's unsure whether anything went wrong. He said, quote, "We've had conversations and I think our mutual deep devotion to our families kind of reared its head in conversations, and we started trying to find that common ground. The commonality of where we could share a life and where we could share a home and so forth. Her being a brand new grandmother and me having gone through the loss of a spouse and feeling support of my daughters, it almost created a situation where we recognized fairly quickly that we weren't going to find that spot where we could be together. And I think more than anything, that was it. And I really feel like there was a mutual admiration and respect and empathy in both ways that we kind of understood the other person's situation." When asked whether he thinks he would still be with Teresa today if they were from the same location, Gary replied, "That's a difficult hypothetical question. That's a no. Based on what I know and based on the experiences that we had back then, if you eliminate that huge obstacle, I can see no red flags. I still don't see any reason why it wouldn't have worked out. But we were also so new to the relationship that we may not have uncovered that layer of the onion that could have been a problem yet. So it's hard to answer that." Um, Gary, who also, if you remember, we talked about the fact that he was diagnosed with an incurable cancer back in December, in 2024, admitted that he withdrew from Teresa, probably, which, I think that's a normal reaction. He said, quote, "I felt like maybe I was a source of bad feelings and the negativity that came out of the show and so forth. So I kind of avoided talking to her, and not out of, ill will or being combative of it all. Just I thought it was better if we gave each other space. Maybe I was wrong with that, and I now intend to go a different direction with it." So, I mean, again, I do wish him all the best, but hey. All right, so that's that. Now we're gonna move on to another piece of hot goss. Now this is last resort related, which I still have to catch up on, and where I will. I have notes ready to go for that one. But yeah, so this is that related. And this is from Sophie. She posted, I think it's on Instagram, um, about kind of, I guess, her kind of saying what she said about Rob, which we'll talk about in that episode. Um, But here's what she had to say. I don't even care to address the show, however, people are still supporting an abusive man. He hides it on TV, but even all the girls at the tell-all said how they've all seen how bad his anger is towards me in real life. He also called an unborn baby names and called a pregnant woman a whore. Yep. Plus, there's even proof online of him throwing things at me and making me have stitches in my eye. Yet people still want to act like Rob was just the nicest guy ever, and I'm just immature because I left. Pretty privilege definitely works for men too, because people see a pretty outside and ignore his inner character. I left Rob because he was abusive, but I didn't want to say it on TV. Furthermore, I didn't out him being gay. I'm literally part of the community myself. It doesn't matter. You still outed him if that is the case, but we'll talk about that later. Um, uh, I, sorry, I lost my place. I outed him cheating and prostituting, which we'll talk about that later. Doesn't matter if it's the same, she says genre, but she said she meant gender. If you're married, that's not okay. People have zero idea what I actually went through, and I'm tired of a false narrative put out, to be honest. I have accepted that people will only believe what they see on TV, but at the end of the day, it's a show for the purpose of entertainment. You do not see what happens behind closed doors. I have never said a single lie about that man, and if you look online, you will see everything I've ever said is true. That man hates women. Amen. As you guys can see, he didn't argue with a man who literally tried to get at his wife because he only attacks women. Yeah, well, my life without him is very peaceful. Being around him is traumatic, and I don't care to speak on it anymore because my life does not revolve around a TV show. And at the end of the day, I know what I went through, and I have worked so hard at healing from it. So that's good enough for me. Okay, well, like I said, we will talk more in depth about kind of everything that's kind of gone on. Um, but I'll say this. Number one, I'm happy that Sophie is at peace away from Rob. I do hope that she can be at peace or is at peace when it comes to everything else that's happened in her life, or at least is doing the work to do so, because I don't believe Rob is the only issue. I think she unfortunately is drawn to men like Rob because of, sorry, I had to cut that off for a minute because my Japanese water heater just chimed at me. So anyways, so what was I saying? Yes, I feel like she is drawn to men like Rob because of her past. Um, so that there's that part. So I'm happy for her on that. Do I think she's immature? I have said that on other episodes, but what I will say is I think she's also mentally stunted because of the past, which I have also said. And I do think she has a lot of growing up to do, and maybe she's done it. But let's not forget, like a lot of what we are seeing was like 2 years ago, a year and a half to 2 years ago. So, a lot can happen in a short period of time. And so that, she could be very well not be quote unquote immature. So I'll say that part as well. What I'll also say is I 1,000% agree with her in the sense that this is an abusive man who hates women. That doesn't necessarily mean you're gay or anything. Straight men can hate women as well. So yeah, I think he is a person who hates women. I think he is very men's rights now, which I have been joking through the episodes that I have done. And I do think that that is kind of what's happening with him. I think in so many ways he is even worse than some of the people we have seen because, as bad as Ed is, as bad as like Angela is, the one thing that you don't see with them, which maybe they're very possible, maybe it's very capable of it, but I've not seen Ed attack a person and call names in that sense. Yeah, he might come at you and whatever, but because he is who he is, but to demean a person in that way. Let's not forget here, and I have said this, and I actually talked about this on my other podcast as well. Um, let's not forget here that Jasmine and Gino, no matter if he felt forced into it. If he felt forced into it, then he should have spoken up and said something. He is a grown-ass man. He has autonomy and he didn't take it. So they went into an open relationship. So what happened at that point was no longer cheating. They're in an open relationship. Gino could have very well gone and done his thing as Jasmine is doing her thing. That is no, if he chose not to, that's his decision. That is no longer cheating. And I have said, do I think that Jasmine getting pregnant for another man was the right thing to do? Abso-fucking-lutely not. You are married to another man. Don't come here and tell me and I said this before too, don't tell me the condom broke. Don't tell me it fucking fell off. Don't tell me that bullshit. You did not use protection and figured, oh, it's not gonna happen. Whether you weren't ovulating, whether you thought, oh, I'll just take plan B or whatever the case may be. You were supposed to use protection. That was part of your terms and you didn't do it. So I don't for a second believe she used protection that day or whatever. You weren't. Straight up, it just wasn't happening. And you got pregnant for another man. That is deplorable. That is fucked up. You shouldn't have done that. At the end of the day, though, it happened. And to call a woman who is pregnant a whore, saying fuck Matt, fuck Jasmine, fuck that baby. You can say fuck Matt, that's fine. You can say fuck Jasmine, that's fine. But why are you coming for a baby that has nothing to do with this and ask for this? And I'm coming from a position of I know how this feels in the sense of I was in a relationship with a man who got another woman pregnant. And I stayed, mind you, for a bit, but I know how this feels. Never once did I say, fuck that baby, because it is not the baby's fault it didn't ask for life. What I did do is say, fuck her because she knew that he was in a relationship when she got pregnant for him, and fuck him because he went and got another person pregnant when he should have been focusing on us. So I understand that hurt and that whatever. I get that. But you don't fucking come for a child. And where my issue is when I read comments and I see people are like, oh, team Rob and this and that. There is no teams to be had. There's no team Jasmine. There's no team Rob. But we can have respect for people. Rod is out here acting like Gino is a victim or something. Gino made a goddamn decision to be in an open relationship. Sorry you weren't there when that happened because you cried off in a corner when you got dumped. But like he made a decision to be in an open relationship. Gino is not a victim. He's just not. And at the end of the day, an open relationship wouldn't have had to have been done if he was open to having intimacy with his wife. He chose to not have intimacy with her. He chose to instead watch porn and all of that. And I I urge anyone who thinks Team Rob, which you're entitled to think that way, but I implore you to think of it this way. And I've said this before. Um, if you were in a sexless relationship, whether that's marriage, committed relationship, whatever, if you were in a sexless relationship, what would you do? Now, I would communicate with my partner to be like, what is going on? Especially when, like, for me, it would be very drastic because, I mean, my partner is, if he were to come to me and say he no longer wants to have sex with me, I'm like, okay, so then who are you having sex with? Like, what? But if this was like a Gino situation, I'm going to have communication with you. I'm going to try to figure out what is going on. What am I doing that, you know, is stopping you? What do I need to do to help encourage that? What else is going on? Is this hormonal? Is this, because I've been saying erectile dysfunction? Like, what is going on here that we can address to help this? Like, what can I do? Or is there other things that we can do to supplement intercourse? Like, is there something else that we can do? I would have that communication. If communication isn't going anywhere, okay, fine. Then then let's go to therapy, whether it's an actual therapist or a sex therapist or whatever, which I think they would have just needed just a regular old therapist because I think this is deep rooted. Then then do that. Do something, try every avenue. But what I wouldn't have done is go into an open relationship. That's not for me, but I would have left instead. But when you feel like you don't want your relationship to end because besides that, you are in love with the person you're with, you may be happy with the person you're with, but this is one thing that's the issue, then maybe this is what you think is the best thing to do. I don't know, but it's just whatever you think. Like, what would you do? You know? Sound like John Quinones. What would you do? Um, And then anyways, the other part of it that we'll say this and I'll talk about other things now. The other part of it for me too is, yes, Sophie, you may be a part of the community, but that's what makes it actually worse. And we'll talk about it more in the episode, but if Rob was gay or bisexual or whatever, okay, or he is selling himself for money, whatever the case may be, if that is what is happening, who are you to out him? That's pretty sucky. Like, why would you do that? How would you have felt if it was you and it was someone from the community? Now, you say you were outing him for cheating. I hear that, but there are ways to go about that than to say or have Kay say, "Oh, well, I'm not the gay one here." I mean, technically, I guess Kay outed him, but she and G followed through. But it's just like this is not okay. It's not okay to out him like this. And I hate Rob. Don't make me have to support him here, but that's not okay. That's the issue I have. Not that you said anything about him cheating. It's the fact that you outed him. And in a way, it feels like you're like saying it's bad that he was involved with a man. Like, meanwhile, you're involved with a man and a woman who actually had a kid together. You know what I mean? Like, and again, do you? That sounds like a crazy story. We'll talk about it then. But it's just, why are you outing him like that? It's just not okay. That's the part for me. And then also, what's wrong with prostitution? Girl, don't you not have OnlyFans? I'm just saying. Again, it's called sex work, and anyone could get involved in sex work. And there's so many levels to sex work. So to also make it about, oh, he's prostituting himself, we don't use those terms anymore. So firstly, secondly, who cares? Because from what my understanding is, you're doing the same thing. So who cares? Anyways, enough of Sophie and Rob. We'll talk about it more on that episode. Let's just go through some of. I don't know if I'm doing all of these. I don't know. No, maybe I will be. We'll see. Okay, so the first episode does not really a whole lot. We had three couples in the first episode. So we have Patrick and Thais. We kind of just, again, it feels like we're going backwards when we know that his knee healed and then it got re-injured and all this. But we're talking about, I think this is the first injury here that he had after surgery and everything. He says he's struggling with the knee. He's trying to get back into doing routine and working out and the whole bit. And he's like struggling with that. Um, so he like tries to do like a jog, but he literally goes like to like two houses down and that's it. He's out. And he says it's also affecting his mental health, which is just totally understandable. That's totally at that part. However, we start talking about how I'm turning 34 and I'm already having wrinkles. And I said, motherfucker, I'm going to be 34 in a few weeks. Are you for real here? Get out of here. Well, I'm 34 and I'm old and I have wrinkles. Fuck you. Okay? Because I don't have a wrinkle. Okay? I don't have quote unquote gray hair, knock on wood. Like, how dare thee? So he also says that he gained 20 pounds because he can't work out, which I mean, like, whatever. I know that's really important to him and everything. And so he says that because this part was weird. Because he gained 20 pounds, he also gained the wrinkles. Sir, isn't it the other way around? Isn't it usually if you lose weight, your wrinkles might be more, might protrude more? I'm confuzzled. That's a word I haven't used since high school. What is happening? So what does he go do? Thais actually says to him, why don't you try Botox? Because, she's done Botox. She's like, why don't we try Botox? So he goes and gets Botox done. And lo and behold, during the Botox, that's when John calls. Come on, this was planned. But at the end of the day, give me all the John. I don't care. A funny thing, can I have more John? I want to know what's happening with John and Megan. Is that her name? I want to know what's happening there. That's what I care more about. I don't care about the storyline whatsoever. Anyways, he gets the Botox done and blah, blah, blah. Let's move on. Then we have Cleo. We do talk about like Christian and all of this and who really cares because I don't. But Cleo mentions that she's actually getting to, and I hope I'm using this terminology correctly, that she's actually getting her first gender confirmation surgery and it's on her face. So she's getting, I think, something done on her forehead. I can't remember what it was. Oh, the hairline. She's getting the hairline done. She's getting something else done on her face as well. I can't remember what it was. And then she's also dealing with her Adam's apple. So she can probably get that shaved down um and it won't be as what's the word I'm looking for? Dominant or whatever. Anyways, so she's throwing this cow person party, which it's like all her friends are coming. They're celebrating her getting her first surgery done. Um, and I think it's called FSS, which is I think facial something something. Yeah, there you go. I should have written down the actual name of it, not FSS. But anyways, it's all the abbreviation's FSS. And she's getting it done in Texas, actually. So she is not only getting this done, which I'm sure is very nerve-wracking for her with her autism and the anxiety and all of that. But she's also getting on a plane and not just going like somewhere in Europe. She's going across the goddamn world. It's, she's going to Texas, which I don't know how long that flight would be from England to Texas, but she does say like kind of when she gets there that it's bittersweet for her to be in the States because she figured when she was going to do this, she would be with Christian. He would be there with her and, he would be like, supporting her through this. So it's kind of the bittersweet thing. But I was thinking, I'm like, she's going through major surgery here. Like, is she going to have someone with her? Is she by herself? She's not by herself. She actually has a friend from Ohio, which if I remember correctly, that's where Christian's from. It's from Ohio. And she's come down to be with Cleo while she's recovering from surgery. And she also says, I want to point this part out too. A couple things. I'm going to point the fun part out before we get to the surgery or the next part. So she does mention that the surgeon who is doing her surgery is supposed to be very well known and very good at what he does. And we do see her going back into surgery and all of that. The second part I'm going to say that's going to just give some fun before I get to the other part here is when this girl lands in Texas, it is pouring. How do you go from England where it was gloomy and shit, and then you go to Texas and it's also gloomy and shit? She brought the weather with her. Jeez. Anyway, so then we do see her about a week or so after the surgery. Poor girl swollen. Everything is swollen. Under the eyes are swollen. She looks like she's in a lot of pain. I think she said that she wasn't too bad. Maybe she was on pain medication at that point. I don't know. But she's very swollen. The next time we see her is 5 months later. She's back in England, obviously. And she says that she is actually not happy with her surgery results. Um, she now has to probably get that fixed. Um, I wonder if she's suing the doctor, because I would be. I'd be suing the doctor if you're not unhappy with the results. I was kind of, we couldn't see the hairline. She had it covered. Um, and I wonder if she had it covered for a reason. And the Adam's apple, I was kind of trying to look and see. It didn't look as, I'm going to use the word protruding, but it's looked like it was still there. What is happening? Why is all of this still like that shouldn't be there? I don't understand. I hope whatever she can do to have this rectified, I hope she can get that done, because like to have your first experience in having some form of surgery for your transition, your first transitional surgery, transitional? That's the right word to use? But her first surgery in terms of her transition, and it does not go the way you wanted it to, or you're unhappy with the results of it, that's so sad. And I hope she can, I hope that gets figured out for her. Um, but anyways, that's basically it for Cleo. Then we have I don't even have notes, y'all. We're just gonna go through this. We have the best addition to this one. And I don't know which episode Chitra and is it Sam? That's the name? I can't remember what episode we had them on. I'm honestly not gonna talk about it. I loved, I didn't see it personally actually. Um, but I know it's talking about her labor and everything like that. She's had this baby now for over a year. I refuse to talk about this now. Anyways, so I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know which episode that was in, if it was this one or the next one. I think it was the next one, but I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm not talking about it in case it wasn't this episode. Anyways, Cortney. Oh my God. Of course she delivers. Oh my God. This was incredible. This was an incredible scene to watch. Oh, she needs her own, she needs her own show. Why isn't she on The Single Life? Why? She is, she, oh, she's incredible. So I can't remember where they were. Was it Iowa or Idaho or somewhere? But she's at her brother's. I didn't know she had a brother. That was news. She has a brother, who is married. He lives on a farm, and they're basically her parents and her are at the brother's farm. And my God, when when we see her trying to deal with the chickens and like everything like that, she's just like she's freaking out. Just seeing her handle a chicken is freaking phenomenal. It's the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And at one point, she actually says, what does she say? Does she say that the eggs of the chickens are like their period? Is that what she said? It was, I mean, no. I mean, wait a minute. Yeah, I guess. I guess. That's, yeah, I mean, yeah. But the things that she thinks about. Anyways, she's still looking for a man's, y'all, okay? She's still looking for a man's. She's trying to do some pictures for her profile that makes her look a little more countrified and makes her look like a farm girl, like she's a farmer finds a wife or needs a wife or whatever the hell. This is basically what she's trying to do to appeal to the men that's in this small town here. But we do get a little bit of an update. We do get an update. Yes, we do. So if you remember from last season's Diaries, she went to, where did she go? Thailand or Taiwan or somewhere in the in Asia. And she went there and she was talking to some guy and then that didn't go very well, and then she ends up, like, dipping out of his house. This is a guy that she used to date before. I think she knew Antonio, and and then she dips out of his house and she goes and meets another guy, and she goes on a date with that guy and everything. Okay, y'all. This is fucking amazing. She's like, so yeah, like it was really great. He's nice. He's a really nice guy. We tried to go on another date, but he got hit by a car. You can't make this shit up. He got hit by a car. And I thought he was lying to me, but then he showed me the pictures and he actually got hit by a car. I mean, where do oh, she has no luck. How does this is some shit that you hear in a movie. It's fucking I'm crying. It's fucking amazing. He got hit by a car. This man goes on a date with Cortney, and then he gets hit by a car. Oh my god. It's oh, fuck. He gets hit by a car. Oh my god. Oh, fuck. Okay. Um, alright. Alright, I'm back. Okay. Yeah, so when she said he got hit by a car, I was dead, as you could tell. Oh, fuck. Okay. Um, so yeah, he got hit by a car. So clearly that didn't work out. Oh, fuck. I mean, seriously. Uh, 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 he was too hurt, so it just didn't work out. I'm not laughing that he got hit by a car. I'm laughing at the freaking audacity. Not the audacity, but the ridiculousness of this man going on a date with her and then getting hit by a car and her being like, it just didn't work out. No shit. Okay. All right. Oh boy. So, anyways, since that didn't work out with the guy who got hit by a car, she, oh fuck. She, she, she's trying to do pictures for her thing, for her profile. And she's like, I mean, it's not authentic because she's not a country girl. She doesn't want to do anything on the farm. Those farm hands are for. So, like, why is she needing to do any of these things? When we see her trying to jump on a haystack, which I wouldn't have been able to do that, I'm like, nope. She can't even get up there. Which again, that would me. I would be able to get up there either. Anyways, the next thing that kind of happens is they're going to some horse barrel race thing. Um, and her brother has kind of hooked her up with some guy that he's friends with. So she meets this guy. There's zero fucking chemistry. You can tell this man thinks she's an idiot. And he says, "Oh, she's a pretty girl." Not, I like the vibe. Like that. Nope. He's like, she's a pretty girl. And when she says, "Do you wanna have my number?" The hesitancy in this man. He literally wanted to say no. He wanted to say no, and then he said, "Sure." So, yeah, she seems to be into it, whatever. And then when she's talking to her parents at the end about, this new guy, she, she's like, "Yeah, so what" I can't remember his name was. We'll just say Tom. Tom? No, maybe not Tom. Maybe not Tom. Uh, Jack. "So what did you think about Jack?" Mom's like, "I like him. He'd be a great boyfriend for you." Girl, pump the brakes. He didn't even wanna give her his number. And dad, dad, I think I understand now where she gets her intelligence from. Her dad is literally like, "Yeah, no, I think Jack is great. He was quiet, we only had to, like, change the diaper once," and she's like, "Not the baby." the man. He's like, oh, yeah, it's fine too. This man literally thought she was talking about the baby, because I think she has like a nephew or something. Anyways, that's basically it. I hope we get more Cortney. This was freaking incredible. When this woman said he got hit by a car, I was done. I was out. I was crying. I was this she's freaking amazing. Give us more Cortney. This is why I'm here. Um anyways, that is it for this episode of Diaries. That's it for that. So we'll be back for the second episode, which that will be I think we had Rebecca and Zied, which we'll be talking about it. And then I think we had, who else did we have? We had Libby and Andre. And then we also had uh Ella, I will remember Ella and Tyree as well. So we'll talk about that in that episode. But until then, guys, that's it for me. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.